My name is Brayven Hager. I was born June 8th, 1994 in Austin, Texas. Fathered by Britt Hager and mothered by Bridget Hager. Had every little boy's dream of a childhood. I grew up seeing these giant men on football pads and these bright lights, and got to see my father in these. I remember the St. Louis Rams was the yellow and blue.
Yeah.
And then I remember wearing my Isaac Bruce jersey and running around, and just seeing, just at a very young age, of what life could be, just excellence, roar. And so ever since then, I fell in love with football. It was never forced on me. It was just what we did. It was kind of like what was in our blood. And I have two older brothers, one younger brother, and it was so much fun, man. I remember the creeks in the Austin area. There was a bunch of creeks, greenbelts playing. I always loved Marvel comics and superheroes and stuff like that, and I always think that that football players are like superheroes, gladiators, athletes, and also musicians and singers. I think I've always liked sports, but I've always loved art. I've always loved things that get me thinking and question things. I remember being in middle school, and everyone at that time was listening to 50 Cent and Benevolent Way, which I thought was all cool and all. And I was the guy that was listening to Ozzy Osbourne, rock and roll, and I know people were around that time. People were kind of disgusted about Marilyn Manson being this freak.
Yeah.
We talked about this before. I was like, and it made me think. Kind of like, this guy can make people so uncomfortable and say so many things, but then at the same time, it's like he's doing what he wants. He's doing what he needs to do.
Yeah.
He's getting your attention.
Yeah.
Like that's his art.
Yeah.
The shock and stuff like that.
Yep.
So it all comes into play with my story and growing up, saying all those things. So vanity is a big thing. And vanity can be a dark thing. Vanity can be a scary thing.
Yeah.
They say that's, I believe in The Devil's Advocate. Al Pacino says vanity is the devil's favorite sin.
Yeah.
And the humility that I've learned over the last 10 years, 23 rehab. I was the weekend warrior in high school, and my senior year, it was beginning of my senior year football season. It was at Westlake High School, so money, drugs, boats, parties and stuff like that. One day, we went on the Lake Austin, and all of us had a bunch of good time. Everyone drinking, as high schoolers do, right? And experimenting, but I never got when people slowed down, or it's time to, party's over.
Yeah.
My party's over when I'm blackout, and I'm waking up the next day.
Yeah.
And then grabbing that next drink.
Absolutely.
But at a very young age, it scared me because it's the first time I had a very, very dark, very dangerous blackout. I essentially just kept drinking. A lot of my high school buddies told me not to drive my truck. And I was driving home, and I made it to my house, and a couple of my friends followed me home, and to make sure that I made it safe. But all of a sudden, I looked at them, and they told me that they never seen such a evil and scary look. It was a smile I gave, and I peeled off, and they chased me, and I went 50, 60 miles per hour into a telephone pole.
Jeez.
And my Ford truck, thank God for Ford, 1997. You know what I mean? That frame.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I'm alive. And it's very, very hard talking about it, right? Because I'm so far away from that.
Right.
But I remember at the time I didn't really want to live.
Yeah.
I had so much pressure.
Yeah.
At the time I went through, a breakup, whatever.
Yeah.
As a high school, I was so young.
Yeah.
I had so much ahead of me. I just didn't think I could live at the table. And the saddest thing about that story is that I was at the four-way stop in our neighborhood, and my truck was wrapped around this telephone pole. My parents were coming home from dinner.
Wow.
So they see my truck that they got me wrapped around this telephone pole. But next day, not much was talked about it at school, right? At a football game the next day. And I remember one of my coaches came in because I had some injuries. I hurt my arm, but nothing. I could play the next day. But I just was fresh out of jail. 17-year-old getting ready for a senior season. Just got out of jail. Tried to really, take his own life. Really, at the end of the day, it was what happened. And one of my coaches came into the training room, and all the other coaches would ask my friend, "Hey, are you okay?" Meaning like injuries for the game. I told the coach, "Hey, no, I'm good. Like, I'm good to play." And he's like, "No, like, are you okay?" And he started tearing up. And I'd never seen a man look at me like that. I still think about him all the time in that look. And that look helps me. There's so many things that help me from not picking up that first. Okay, the first time I needed help. That's a good question, because the first 3 times I went to rehab was because of the courts, right? Because of the courts, I went to rehab, participated. I never AMA'd from any rehab, so every time I go, I go all in. I've been in treatment with you, so you do the same thing.
Exactly.
It's life or death, And unfortunately, some people don't see it that way. It took me so long to get to where I'm at, and I hope people don't have to get beaten to submission like this, But what happened? So what really happened is actually what happened in those last 16 months. I was thinking about what to compare recovery, alcoholism, God with, and I was watching. Me and my kids were watching Shrek last night, the last one, and the Pied Piper is the villain. And then I looked into the Pied Piper in the story, and it kind of blew me away. This man, they hired this man to clean out the city of rats or mice or whatever. They don't pay him, right? What he starts to do, he takes the children, which is the people's most important thing, is the future of that town. So that's everything that village has. That village is going to die without those kids. So it is so important for drug addicts and alcoholics like me to pay the Pied Piper every single day. And that's with gratitude, with what the instructions that we get every day. I believe we have to. That's step one. Admitting, because that so easily the Pied Piper play a tune and anyone will follow. So that it's kind of haunting, and I love old stories, old philosophies and stuff like that. But what really happened is with the Pied Piper, I got, this is the time I didn't pay the Pied Piper, I got my dream job in the film industry in Alabama. This was 17 months ago. Taylor was pregnant, my soon-to-be wife. I had my 2 stepkids with me. I got hired as a production assistant and to help out with stunts, and just the very starting point to get where I wanted to go with my career. So I was so excited. Housing was paid for. It was 3 months. They shot. We got there. We made it out there, whole family, and I was around 4 or 5 months sober then. So I was like, look, I made it, but then I stopped praying. I got back into myself. And then, do not forget to pay the Pied Piper, man. What happened so quickly is I drank. I decided to go to the gym. While there I am going to the gym. I got some booze, drank, smoked weed, and then next thing I know, I'm getting pulled over, getting arrested, public intoxication. Thank God they didn't give me a DUI, nothing. God had some grace left. But the fact is, the next day I got terminated from the job. And the look on the man that got me to this job, who's also a family friend, looked at me, the same look that Coach Brayven gave me. Just that. But it was kind of re-amplified. Then I am stuck in Alabama we have no money. Barely have enough money. I begged my parents to give me $60 so we can go to a motel. I'm in a Motel 6 in Alabama. No way to get home. The car got impounded because I got arrested. And it was the most low I've ever felt, because it wasn't about me. It's not about Brayven. I have kids. I have my soon-to-be soon-to-be wife with me. It's not just Brayven going around running and gunning anymore. So just the power of that, and the power to pay my dues and to to pray, to rely on my faith, and to take suggestions, to do things like this. It's the only way. I truly believe life begins at the end of your comfort zone. I've heard that so many times. I just truly believe that. And I've been very uncomfortable this year, and it's made me the strongest version. I guess it's a contracted diver. I work for my lovely fiance's company. She taught me everything I know about it, and I had her learn real fast because she was training me while she was pregnant with Sophia, and this was after the movie, so they are giving me a second chance. This is it, kids coming, and you got to learn this shit fast because Taylor was pregnant, and even the night before she had a cooking accident and had burns on her, and she was in the water doing it. I looked at that, I was like, this, I got to learn now. I said, get out, I'm doing this. Ever since then, I have failed so many times, dropped tools. So I cleaned the boat holes, I cleaned the boats, I exchanged the anodes, replaced them, which there's electricity in the water, and that electricity eats at the running gear, but if you put those anodes on, they eat those first and it protects the running gear. So we maintain boats, but we also do very cool, like I also have done very cool jobs, like diving jobs. I got a very gross job. I was in the Port of Houston, which is basically the sewer. Dove 40 feet to connect. They're making the structure for this big tugboat, like a big buoy, basically. So they put this beam on a crane, and I was the diver, and I kind of had to, make a system where I can tap, and the crane can understand where to lower it. But they lowered this beam for like 40 feet underwater, and I had to guide it, put it in the slot, nut, screw, did it, and it was. I just knew like I can do this. I never knew that diving would be in my future. I never knew. I've always been a good swimmer. That's a good swimmer and athletic somewhat, but I have no diving experience. And this job has elevated me to a point where I'm confident to dive at any depth, any waters.
It's kind of crazy how, and I know you know this, how even through addiction and stuff, God still found another path for you like this. He didn't use your addiction to do that, but he took that and helped you find another path.
Right.
Because growing up, you said there was no really pressure on you, but that had to be. I know that it was your family, but man, I look at your dad and your brothers, and these guys are larger than life to me. You had two of them. Your dad was in the NFL. Bryce went to the NFL. Did he win a championship with the Rams?
He went to the Super Bowl. They lost to Tom Brady.
That's right.
But to share the stage with Tom Brady, I even tell him he's like, he's an athlete, and he's a great athlete and a competitor, and he's just doesn't like talking about it. And my view is, hey man, you shared the field with one of the greats.
Exactly. And then of course, your younger brother was famous for the Willie Nelson pigtails and
University
of Texas. And is he still in film? Is
right.
He doing
yes,
film?
he is actually on June 8th on my birthday. He's releasing a documentary about like cryptocurrency out in Pecos or what they're doing out in Pecos. I don't really know much about it. I'm very excited, but it's called Born in Denver, and it's premiering in Pecos June 8th. And
very cool.
June 8th is a very exciting day. It's going to be my 30th birthday, my 1 year sobriety, and then premiere my... So what I would say for someone who is just beginning their journey on growth and really facing things, because that's what it is, that's what the pain is. It's facing the uncomfortable, the past, the regret, the remorse, the things you said, the things you didn't say. It's a tidal wave of that. That's why it's taken me 10 years to get me to one. That's why I've been saying 10 years to get to one. I had to learn so many different lessons, different way of hurting. Like I felt it all. But what I can promise you is, after the storm settles, just like the song, it's gonna hurt, but I promise you it's worth it. And there's no, people say like, are you finally happy now? Like, happiness comes and goes, but something I can say that I haven't been able to say for a long time is I feel so much joy. I am joyous. I am a father. I'm a provider. I'm not a taker. I bring things to the table now instead of take. And I just hope, I do have a lot of people in my life that I care deeply about to really, hopefully this song and this video and this mission is, it's gonna hurt, but not as much as you're hurting yourself and hurting the loved ones, man. It's hard. We have brothers that die every day, brothers and sisters, and it's serious. I remember the first time I heard, you're gonna die from this thing. I'm like, bit extreme.
Yeah.
But no, it's absolutely real.
From those months leading up, I think he's a lot less scared of things and of life.
Yeah.
And I have experience with my, I have a brother, I have uncles who are addicts, and that seems to be a common theme. They're just these beautiful men that are just perfect, right? But they're scared. They don't have a lot of self-confidence. They're trusting themselves a lot more. We trust each other a lot more. And it's, we still make sure sobriety is an everyday thing. But for my part of it, I do trust him a lot more than I did, say, 7 months ago, constantly worrying if he's drinking, if he's doing this. Sophia, you can't eat grass.
And also staying busy. He has something he does every day. He's getting better and better at it. And what's great about that, what he's doing is that he gets to see accomplishment every day. At the end of the day, that, hey, I did something that mattered and made a difference. And so with all those things, it helps. So it gives you hope, not despair. Yeah. And I think as long as he does that, he'll stay on his road to recovery. We know it's a day by day thing. It's a day by day, just a choice every day to choose hope over despair.
Awesome. Is there anything you'd like to say to him before we go?
I love him, and I'm very proud of him. He's a great dad.
All right, thank you, sir. I really appreciate you.
Okay, talk to you later.
I love you to say, we will bend, we will fall, but we will never break if we do this. We are gonna mess up, like this job. I have messed up. I've dropped the camera. And my performance is like, if my performance isn't good, my family doesn't do good,
Yeah.
And that's what I had to get to. I had to get to a point that people, I really do think that people need to get to a point where they have to be uncomfortable and face it.
Yep.
That's it. Just face it, and you will not break.
There's an old pecan tree standing guard for 50 years out in the yard. Each spring when the Texas storms bear down, a few more limbs crash to the ground, and I swear you can almost hear her cry. She just keeps on reaching to the sky, 'cause you won't see a rainbow till after the rain, and nothing grows without a little pain. When the mountain seems too high to climb, move it one stone at a time, and don't be a fool whistling in the dark. When you're wrong, admit your part, and don't polish a grudge until it shines. Let it go and leave the past behind, 'cause you won't see a rainbow till after the rain, and nothing grows without a little pain. No, you won't see a rainbow till after the rain, and nothing grows without a little pain. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. Say I love you every day, 'cause you'll get back what you give away. And if your soul is cracked from all your sins, that's just where the hope gets in. And you won't see a rainbow till after the rain, and nothing grows without a little pain. No, you won't see a rainbow till after the rain, and nothing grows without a little pain.
grows without a little pain. La da 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 da. La da 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 da.